a whiplash week in presidential politics.
The future is always worth fighting for.
They've taken their criminals from Caracas. They've taken their drug dealers. They're emptying their prisons into our country.
From Donald Trump and Kamala Harris's swing state swing to the latest indictment handed down against the former president to the first Harris-Walz sit-down interview. The monumental week of politics leading into the holiday and the final sprint to the election. And the newest polling out tonight that points to the potential direction of the race. We'll have all the angles covered for you. Plus,
storm is approaching.
It's one of the biggest travel weekends of the year. We're reporting from the ground and the air on the potential headaches ahead as the country marks the unofficial end of summer. And
have you ever had someone reach out on one of these platforms, social media or the gaming platforms, that you didn't know? Raise your hand if that's happened to you.
An estimated 90% of teens from 13 to 17 use social media, and the stakes to protect them could not be higher. Tonight, we give you a behind-the-scenes look at the efforts to protect those teens from predators lurking in the shadows. Good evening, everyone. I'm Stephanie Ramos in for Linsey Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We're following those stories and much more, including the NHL star and his brother killed after being hit by an alleged drunk driver. The devastating loss for a community now in mourning. Plus, the growing concerns over West Nile and Triple E viruses with nearly 300 cases reported across 30 states. And this summer produced hit after hit across genres, age groups, and more. We take a look at the songs of summer when we go by the numbers. But we begin with the severe storms moving across the country, headed to the Northeast. 30 million Americans in their path, with a record number of Americans set to travel. Torrential rains and flash flooding washed out this home in Pennsylvania. Driving rain and a microburst hammered Virginia. The Mid-Atlantic is bracing for more tonight. The Minnesota State Fairgrounds also in the crosshairs. You can see people there running for cover as the storm passes through. And we are closely tracking several tropical threats. Meteorologist Lee Goldberg will have the forecast in just a moment. But first, ABC's Trevor Ault leads us off at Newark International Airport as the busy holiday travel weekend is in full swing.
Tonight, the powerful storm system that already hammered the upper Midwest now threatening to throw a wrench in the travel plans of millions as it pushes east on the unofficial last weekend of summer.
Attention, fairgoers, a severe storm is approaching. You're encouraged to seek shelter.
At the Minnesota State Fair in St. Paul, people taking cover. Virginia also rocked by thunderstorms. And northwest of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, torrential rain tearing a trench through this road, and powerful straight-line winds snapping huge trees, ripping away roofs. Dara Reinford says it sounded like a train.
We have a little closet under our stairs in our laundry room, and the four of us piled in there and just sat and waited it out till it seemed like it was past.
Parts of Michigan under threat tonight are still cleaning up from storms earlier this week. And it's all happening on the busiest day of the holiday to fly.
Be patient and be kind. Everyone's doing their best.
The TSA estimates they'll screen nearly 2.9 million passengers, about 100,000 more than yesterday, and about 10% more than this time last year, capping a record-breaking summer.
TSA has been in existence for 23 years, and of those 23 years, the top 10 busiest days ever have all happened this summer.
And Trevor Ault joins us now from New Jersey's Newark Airport. Trevor, how are the cancellations looking so far?
Well, so far, Steph, they've been pretty good so far. What we've seen, at least, is that there has not been any kind of spike in delays or cancellations. But even with that case and that good news, we know through this holiday stretch, the TSA is anticipating 17 million people. So it's still a wise idea to give yourself extra time to catch that flight. Stephanie?
It certainly is. Trevor Ault for us there at Newark Airport. Thank you, Trevor. Let's time out these storms now with meteorologist Lee Goldberg from our partner station, WABC, right here in New York City. Lee, what is the latest on the storms heading for the Northeast?
Well, right now they're moving out of the Great Lakes. We have a severe thunderstorm watch over eastern Michigan. That'll go through the evening hours. We've watched severe storms work through Flint, 60-mile-per-hour gusts. Seeing some damage with downed trees southeast of Cleveland over to Bloomington, Indiana, and some flash flooding with a separate area of storms over parts of the Carolinas. So these storms move east along I-80, and they don't make it to the coast or I-95 till tomorrow night. So it's really more like I-81 from, let's say, Binghamton and Scranton all the way up to Albany. And by the time we get to late tomorrow night, it could be New York City and Boston with some downpours, potentially some damaging winds, although the storms should weaken as they get to the coast. Then there's the tropics. We've really pressed the pause button for 2 weeks. That changes. Low pressures over the western Gulf. It may not be named, but it just meanders along the coast and can give 3 to 5 inches to parts of Louisiana and the upper Texas coast. There are other candidates for development. One in the central Atlantic. That could be Francine. We'll watch it over the Leeward Islands over the weekend into next week, and another wave behind that. Not surprised to see a lot of ducks on the pond as we get close to the historical peak of tropical season. Stephanie?
Just in time for the holiday weekend. Hoping everybody stays safe out there. Thanks so much, Lee. Turning now to what the NHL's Columbus Blue Jackets hockey team is calling an unimaginable tragedy. Their star forward, Johnny Gaudreau, and his brother Matthew, both hit and killed by a suspected drunk driver while riding bicycles in New Jersey. The incident just hours before they were to be groomsmen for their sister's wedding. Here's ABC's Ike Ajachi.
Accident. Tonight, a horrific tragedy. NHL star Johnny Gaudreau and his younger brother Matthew struck and killed by a suspected drunk driver as they rode their bikes in New Jersey.
Gray or black SUV hatchback driving erratically. It was swerving around people and driving on the shoulder.
The fatal collision occurring after 8 p.m. Thursday in Salem County, near where the brothers grew up, and just hours before the two were to be groomsmen in their sister's wedding. The driver, Sean Higgins, in court today, now charged with 2 counts of second-degree vehicular homicide. An affidavit says Higgins told officers he had approximately 5 to 6 beers before the crash. State police say he also failed field sobriety tests. Tonight, fans in the U.S. and Canada paying their respects to the Blue Jackets forward.
I've played hockey my whole life. I'm 5'10". He's a smaller guy. He kind of represents, working hard really kind of pays off.
Gaudreau's skills on the ice earning him the nickname Johnny Hockey. Gaudreau played in the NHL for 11 years and was elected to its All-Star game 7 times. He signed a 7-year contract with the Blue Jackets back in 2022 for nearly $70 million. Gaudreau and his brother Matthew, teammates at Boston College. Johnny earning the Hobey Baker Award for the best player in college hockey.
If you ask us to name our favorite players, they've got to be, both boys are going to be among them.
The 31-year-old hockey star, a father of 2. His 29-year-old brother's wife, pregnant. In a statement tonight, the Gaudreau family remembering them as amazing humans, adding, "We want to let everyone know we are receiving your messages of love and support."
There's a lot of good hockey players in South Jersey, and he was probably the best. That's why he was Johnny Hockey.
Such a tragedy for the Gaudreau family. Ike Ajachi joins us now. Ike, how is the NHL responding tonight?
Well, Stephanie, the Columbus Blue Jackets releasing a statement saying in part that the impact Gaudreau had on our organization and our sport was profound, but pales in comparison to the indelible impression he made on everyone who knew him. Stephanie?
All right, Ike, thank you. Now to the race for the White House, and President Trump announcing how he will vote in Florida, that state putting abortion rights on the ballot in November. He once called the 6-week ban a terrible mistake. Tonight, though, the former president announcing he will vote to keep the ban in place. And all of this comes after Kamala Harris gave her first sit-down interview as a nominee for president. Terry Moran reports.
Tonight, former President Trump in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, taking aim at Vice President Kamala Harris and that first interview, telling the crowd he will be a pro-family president.
If I'm elected this November for the first time ever, your government will pay for or require insurance companies to pay for all costs associated with IVF fertility treatment. We want more babies to be born in America. We want more babies. We need them. We need them.
Hours earlier, the Trump faithful gathering outside.
Is it an important issue for anybody?
And we wanted to hear their opinion about Trump's latest proposal.
So he did the right thing as far as you're concerned?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I wouldn't have my children if it wasn't for in vitro fertilization.
He came out and supported.
I did 7 years of infertility treatments. I spent $70,000. I had 6 miscarriages. Yeah, it's a good thing.
Some anti-abortion rights leaders are dismayed by Trump's proposal. They see IVF, where unused embryos are often discarded, as equivalent to abortion. That's a minority opinion, and we didn't hear it here. But some Trump loyalists are questioning how mandating insurance companies to pay or having the government cover treatments would work.
I think there's going to be an issue on how you pay for it. There's always that issue.
And tonight, Trump is trying to play cleanup after he indicated he might support a referendum on the ballot in his home state of Florida that aims to overturn the state's near total abortion ban.
I think the 6 week is too short. It has to be more time, and so and I've told them that I want more weeks.
So you'll vote in favor of the amendment?
I'm voting that I am going to be voting that we need more than 6 weeks.
The campaign quickly issued a statement. President Trump has not yet said how he will vote on the ballot initiative in Florida. He simply reiterated that he believes 6 weeks is too short. When Trump was asked again today, he said, "I'll be voting no." Trump has consistently said abortion should be an issue handled at the state level since the 3 Supreme Court justices he appointed helped overturn Roe v. Wade. Vice President Kamala Harris, meanwhile, says she would sign a bill to restore women's right to choose abortion nationally if it came to her desk. Her campaign saying voters aren't stupid. In that CNN interview, Harris laid out her priorities for American families on day one if she's elected.
I've already laid out a number of proposals in that regard, which include what we're going to do to bring down the cost of everyday goods, what we're going to do to invest in America's small businesses, what we're going to do to invest in families. For example, extending the child tax credit to $6,000 for families for the first year of their child's life to help them buy a car seat, to help them buy baby clothes, a crib.
And Terry Moran joins us now, traveling with the Trump campaign in Pennsylvania tonight. And Terry, with the race extremely tight, it seems both candidates are trying to appeal to more moderate voters.
They sure are, Stephanie. We're seeing this in real time, right? Donald Trump, a dramatic change in his message on abortion. Just weeks ago, he was still bragging about killing Roe versus Wade and praising some of those state bans. And Kamala Harris, she's abandoning her previous support for banning fracking, for Medicare for all, and more. Both of these candidates in this tight race, they know where those last crucial votes are, in the middle. Stephanie?
Right down the middle. Terry, thank you very much. Now to the mosquito-borne virus threat as Americans gather for the long holiday weekend. There have been 2 deaths from the West Nile virus in New Jersey and cases reported in dozens of other states. And there is growing concern over the rare and deadly Eastern equine encephalitis, or also called Triple E virus, especially here in the Northeast. Here's Ariel Reshef.
Tonight, with New Jersey reporting 2 new deaths from the West Nile virus, health officials are urging Americans to protect themselves from mosquitoes with bug spray and extra clothing when the sun goes down.
This is when we are seeing a lot of West Nile cases. It's not fun to walk around like that at this time of the year when it's so hot, but I think it's really important to do that.
West Nile typically kills 100 to 200 Americans every year. In Missouri, 18-year-old John Proctor is on a ventilator after contracting the disease. His parents say it started with a headache and dizziness and then spiraled into a high fever with vomiting.
My son was a healthy, athletic individual. It's hard. The doctors described this as a marathon to beat this virus.
From New York to New England, communities spraying to protect against West Nile and Triple E, an even rarer and deadlier mosquito-borne virus. One of those cases in Plymouth, Massachusetts, where officials are taking extra precautions. Local high schools trading Friday night lights for a 4 o'clock kickoff. Not everyone on board.
It's a pretty big tradition here on Friday nights. I think the town should leave it up to the individual. If they want to take the necessary precautions, then do so.
And Ariel Reshef joins us now. And Ariel, put this into perspective for us. How does this year compare to last year?
Well, experts say, Steph, that we're not seeing any more cases than we did this time last year, but they are cautioning that climate change is increasing the risk of the spread of these mosquito-borne diseases. Steph?
All right, Ariel Reshef. Now to the Israel-Hamas war. A senior Hamas commander today was killed by Israeli forces in the West Bank. The military operation there entering a 3rd day. Our Britt Clennett is in Jerusalem tonight.
Tonight, explosions and gunfire ringing out in the West Bank city of Jenin as Israel's sweeping raids enter a third day. Israeli police releasing this video from Jenin, saying it shows their forces killing a Hamas commander and 2 militants. The multi-city raids have killed at least 20 since they began, according to the IDF. We saw the damage firsthand at Al-Farah camp, where 4 people were killed, including 2 children, during a 30-hour operation.
You can see what's left of this mosque, just charred remains after the IDF swept through here, raiding most of the houses along this street.
Israel claims there were explosives inside the mosque. Bassel, a resident who says he sympathizes with the Palestinian resistance, telling us he and his family were nearly struck by gunfire.
When they shooting buttons here, I sleep here, me and my wife.
IDF are saying they are carrying out these raids because they are finding terrorists.
We are fighting about the free, about the land.
Fighting for freedom, you say?
Yeah, for freedom, yes.
It comes after Israeli forces struck another aid convoy in Gaza, 4 Palestinians killed. The IDF saying armed individuals joined it who were not part of the coordinated plan. The US aid group, which helped coordinate the convoy, saying in a statement that trying to deliver aid should not come at the cost of people's lives.
Stephanie, there will be limited pauses in the fighting in Gaza from Sunday as the WHO rolls out a mass polio vaccination drive. But an Israeli source saying this is not the beginning of a full ceasefire. As for those Israeli raids in the West Bank, the IDF has not indicated how long they may continue. Stephanie?
For us in Jerusalem, Britt Clennett, thank you. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky fired the head of the country's Air Force today. This comes just 4 days after an American-made F-16 warplane crashed while trying to intercept a Russian missile strike, killing one of the country's top pilots. U.S. experts have joined the investigation into the crash. The Ukrainian Air Force has reported. Meanwhile, 7 people are dead and 77 more injured in a Russian strike on the eastern Ukrainian city of Kharkiv. A 14-year-old girl is among the dead after Russia attacked a playground and residential building there. In Los Angeles, a doctor charged in Matthew Perry's death made his first court appearance today. Dr. Mark Chavez has agreed to plead guilty to 1 count of conspiracy to distribute ketamine and has signed a plea agreement, and that's according to the United States District Attorney's Office. As part of the deal, Chavez agreed to immediately give up his medical license, and his medical practice in San Diego must close as of today. Chavez has admitted to selling ketamine for Perry's use and to submitting fraudulent prescriptions. Chavez's attorney spoke to reporters outside an LA courthouse today, expressing his client's remorse.
We're incredibly sorry that someone lost their life. It doesn't matter that he was a famous celebrity, and I know that he was incredibly universally loved by all, and it's a shame that what happened here.
Chavez faces up to 10 years in prison. Turning now to the economy, according to the gauge of inflation favored by the Federal Reserve, price pressures are now easing. The Commerce Department said today that compared to a year earlier, inflation was unchanged at 2.5%. This sets the stage for the Fed to cut interest rates in September for the first time in 4 years. Inflation did edge higher in July, while personal income increased 0.3% and consumer spending rose 0.5%. The Fed is expected to now focus more on supporting the labor market. We still have much more to get to here on Prime. Coming up, the latest twist in the legal case for the man featured on the hit podcast Serial. A court upholds Adnan Syed's murder conviction. What happens next? Also coming up next in our Prime Focus, online child exploitation continues to get worse. The fears for parents and kids, fears that they face in the world of social media.
Whenever news breaks.
We are here in Israel, a nation at war after that brutal surprise attack by Hamas.
On the ground in Ukraine, reporting from Lewiston, Maine.
The scene of a horrific mass shooting.
ABC News Live is right there everywhere.
From the scene of that deadly missile strike in Dnipro, Ukraine.
Reporting from the earthquake in Turkey.
In rolling forward, this tornado tore through this little town.
From the most devastating disaster in Hawaii.
From Charleston, South Carolina, on the 2024 campaign trail.
In Iceland. Let's go.
Travel
traveling with the president in Mexico City.
Wherever the story.
From the front lines, from southern Israel,
Outside the Gaza Strip,
in Beirut,
From the FBI.
Reporting from the nurses on the picket line.
Here at 10 Downing Street in London.
Streaming live to you.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is, we're going to take you there.
You're streaming.
ABC News Live.
ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live. Streaming free everywhere. America's #1 streaming news.
First thing in the morning.
There's a lot going on.
We're still in a flash flood warning. To catch you up with what happened overnight. Police in riot gear arresting dozens of protesters.
What's happening today? Escalating tensions in the Middle East.
What people are talking about. The migrant crisis.
Fast, straightforward.
With some fun in between.
Check out the Gator on the 17th hole.
The buzzkill in baseball.
First thing in the morning.
America This Morning.
America's #1 early morning news.
On ABC News Live.
What does it take to be the most watched newscast in America?
We are part of an operation.
Is this our Combat Operations Center?
We're approaching the gate. Militants came in from different directions. Nuclear reactor. So you have a couple loaded and ready to go. The house is destroyed, but the flag...
Not a carry in it.
How important it made the USA. Great work.
Hi, appreciate you.
Thank you.
Ismail? David.
I'm David Muir.
I know who you are.
You
Watch
do?
you every night.
ABC's World News Tonight with David Muir is America's most watched newscast.
If you were coming of age in the 1980s, the Brat Pack was near the center of your cultural awareness. But for those of us experiencing it from the inside, the Brat Pack was something very different.
The critics agree.
Hated the Brat Pack. What a disaster.
Why did we take it as an offense? Andrew?
I'm not going to say we were the Beatles or anything.
Well, we didn't fill Shea Stadium.
1985? I think we could have.
They both want to be your next president. Now, finally, Kamala Harris.
Do we believe in the promise of America?
Donald Trump.
We will soon be a great nation again.
Face to face. Historic. The ABC News presidential debate, moderated by David Muir and Linsey Davis. Tuesday, September 10th, live on ABC and streaming on ABC News Live, Hulu, and Disney+. The ABC News presidential debate.
Welcome back. Social media has a nearly ubiquitous presence in the lives of the most vulnerable among us, our children. An estimated 90% of teens from 13 to 17 use social media, and the stakes to protect them could not be higher. And as society focuses more on the mental health dangers social media can pose for teens, tonight we take a look at the physical danger lurking in the background as well. In our prime focus, ABC's Emmanuel Saliba takes us behind the new technology, looking to help keep child predators at bay as parents nationwide look to safeguard their children.
Back in the day, a predator had to physically be in the same location as a minor, as a child, as a victim.
When we think of predators, many of us still think of a man in a van waiting near a playground. But the dangers children face today can often be less visible. This is Titania Jordan. She's part of a large team at Bark, a company that uses technology to help parents keep their kids safer online.
Now, the estimated 500,000 predators that are known to be online at any time know that the internet is a vast playground of children that are online upwards of 8 hours a day, most of them unmonitored, unfiltered, unrestricted.
Have you ever had someone reach out on one of these platforms, social media or the gaming platforms, that you didn't know? Raise your hand if that's happened to you.
We went to Mount Olive Middle School in New Jersey to speak with a group of students and their parents about some of their experiences they've had on social media.
Have you ever had an instance where someone on one of these apps reached out to you that you didn't know?
Like, as a 13-year-old with Snapchat, it's pretty scary because, like, when somebody adds you as a friend, and me with 1,000 friends, I'm like, maybe it's one of my other friends' friend that's trying to. But then it's like a 30-year-old guy trying to reach out to me. And it's pretty scary. Like, you don't know who you're adding until you add them.
Snapchat told ABC News their goal is to make it as hard as possible for young people to be contacted by someone they don't know. They say they have extra safeguards for teens to protect themselves from unwanted contact. But unwanted messages are not isolated to just one platform.
You spoke about an instance where your daughter had an interaction with someone online that she didn't know.
I have had the instance where one of the accounts that I do manage, adults were reaching out to her under the guise of being a coach, whether they are or are not a coach, but asking where she is, where her tournament would be, where she would be playing, what team, in-depth questions to find out her location, which, raised big red flags for me. It started probably around 10 was the first time, and now she's 13, and it still has occurred. Whether or not, the controls allow it or don't, you can still put the account as private, but they still can message you regardless.
Meta told ABC News they've spent years working with law enforcement in investigating child exploitation. They also have parental supervision tools that let parents see who their teens follow and who they're followed by.
Parents that are working, we put our children in front of these apps, these tablets or these televisions, and we walk away thinking that if they're engaging with children shows or activities, that they're safe. And I recognize that my children are not safe unless I am totally engaged in what they're engaging in online, whether it's a device, whether it's television. It also showed me that individuals who are creating these devices, these apps, and these platforms are not really as engaged in the well-being of our children.
While the issue of online child exploitation is not new, data released by the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children shows it's getting worse. In 2023, the nonprofit said it received 36.2 million reports of suspected online child sexual exploitation.
Parents think that because, like you said, this is here, I can't tangibly feel you and touch you, that it's okay. But no, it's not, because it's just as dangerous.
Lieutenant Paul Scortino has been working with the Internet Crimes Against Children Unit in New Jersey for over a decade.
They could be being groomed or talked to where, hey, here's where to meet. Here's where to go. Person driving around with a van, that's quick. They could be right there and they could snatch your child off the street, off the playground. This may take a couple extra steps, a couple extra days, but it's just as dangerous as the way things used to be when there was no social media and no internet.
When we think about predators, many of us may still think about the man in the van parked around the corner or near the school. I see you laughing, nodding. Is that still the case?
You really don't know who is on the other side of the phone or social media or the device and what their intentions are. So you just have to teach your kids to be aware and educate them so that they know what to share and what not to share.
We are on the side of parents everywhere working hard to raise their kids. Over the last 8 years, we've built more than 30 different tools.
In January, the CEOs of 5 major social media companies, TikTok, Meta, Discord, Snapchat, and X, testified before the U.S. Senate Judiciary Committee about the risks their products pose to young people.
We put special restrictions on teen accounts on Instagram. By default, accounts for under 16s are set to private, have the most restrictive content settings, and can't be messaged by adults that they don't follow or people they aren't connected to.
The CEOs of these big tech companies, they went in front of Congress and they basically told everyone, these apps are very safe for children and teens to use. I see the air quotes back there. Do you believe that?
No.
You don't?
Telling someone that it's not going to help. We need proof, we need a test, we need someone to test that app out, because they're not showing us if it's true or not.
What do you think?
They're just telling Congress that it's totally safe, but Congress doesn't know that. Half the parents that kids are on this app doesn't know that either. They need to prove it to somebody. They need actual proof instead of word, because they're just lying.
Should these apps be safer? Should there exist a version that doesn't have all of that exposure?
I say yes, 110%. Yeah. I don't want my children exposed to what I would be exposed. And honestly, I don't want to be exposed to all of that. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't want to see people, I don't want to see that, right? I don't go to those apps.
Demands for concrete measures to protect children online are rising nationwide. But experts say until technology companies create safer alternatives, the onus remains largely on parents and kids to avoid online harm.
I think that the most important thing, as I mentioned, is communication. But parents and kids, just remember, you don't know who is on the other end of the computer, the phone, the text message, even a text message. Very easy to portray to be somebody else that they're not.
So I'm the mother of this 14-year-old. She comes to me because I don't have BARC technology, so I don't know what's going on. But she comes and she tells me she's been receiving and interacting with a man. What do I say to her?
You remain calm. You say, thank you so much. Thank you for telling me. That's a really mature decision. Let's figure out how to navigate this. What we need to do is preserve the evidence. So before we block him, which we should absolutely do, let's take some screenshots so that we can give this to law enforcement so they can go after him so he not only stops contacting you, but probably the hundreds of other children that he's contacting as well.
So important to keep kids safe online. Our thanks to Emmanuel Saliba for that report. Still ahead here on Prime, say it ain't so. Is one of the most iconic products changing their packaging? We have the answer coming up. Plus, the end of a very musical summer with standout hits are here, from a catchy tune that might make you crave caffeine to a twangy remake of a 2000s hip-hop hit. We're taking a look back at the songs that captured our attention by the numbers.
What does it take to be the most watched newscast in America?
An operation to capture ISIS fighters.
Is this our Combat Operations Center?
We're approaching the gate now. Militants came in from 4 or 5 different directions. Operational nuclear reactor. So you have a couple loaded and ready to go. The house is destroyed, but the flag, there's not a tear in it. Not a tear in it. How important is this label right here, Made in the USA? Look at your smile. You're proud of this.
I love this.
Great work. Hi. Where are you? Where are you? Appreciate you.
Thank you, David. Good to meet you.
Ismail?
David.
David.
Yes, yes. I'm David Muir.
I know who you are.
You
Watch
do?
you every night.
ABC's World News Tonight with David Muir is America's most watched newscast. Whenever news breaks,
We are here in Israel, a nation at war.
In Rolling Fork, this tornado tore through this town.
From Lewiston, Maine.
The scene of a horrific mass shooting.
From the scene of that deadly missile strike.
ABC News Live everywhere.
In Iceland, let's go.
On the 2024 campaign trail.
Here at 10 Downing Street.
Wherever the story is.
We're going to take you there.
You're streaming.
ABC News Live.
ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live, streaming free everywhere.
Betrayal is one of the hardest types of trauma to overcome.
This is her knight in shining armor.
Everything felt right. All of a sudden, I found this hidden folder. I opened it. I don't think I can say it. I'm sorry. It's shocking. My stomach just dropped. He just really didn't think I had it in me to do something. So I did.
Betrayal, a Father's Secret, the all-new season on Hulu.
First thing in the morning.
There's a lot going on.
We're still in a flash flood warning.
To catch you up with what happened overnight. Police in riot gear arresting dozens of protesters.
What's happening today? Escalating tensions in the Middle East.
What people are talking about, the migrant crisis.
Fast, straightforward.
With some fun in between.
Check out the Gator on the 17th hole.
The buzzkill in baseball.
First thing in the morning.
America This Morning.
America's #1 early morning news.
On ABC News Live.
Why do so many people start their day here?
From ABC News, this is Start Here.
To be in the know and get a different take on the day's top stories.
A lot of news today, so let's get into it.
Listen now to the Daily News Podcast honored with 4 Edward R. Murrow Awards and see why the New York Times calls it a news podcast worth listening to. Start Here, ABC News. Make it your daily first listen.
Now, that's a part of the story I bet you didn't see coming.
Wherever you get your podcasts, Start Here.
It's lunchtime in America, so what are we serving up?
Well, how about everything you need to know?
Give it to me. Your health, your money, breaking news, pop culture, with the biggest stars, music, trends, and of course, good food.
It's all coming up on GMA3.
You're going to love it. We'll see you then.
GMA3, what you need to know. A third hour of GMA in the afternoon.
So join us, afternoons.
For everything you need to know.
I love that.
Me too.
I'm Medea Villarreal in Houston, Texas. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming with ABC News Live.
heard that song this summer. Hot to Go by Chappell Roan is one of Spotify's global top 5 songs of the summer. From country's global surge to instant hip-hop classics and female pop breakthroughs, the list is out. Here are Spotify's songs that define summer 2024 by the numbers. More than 855 million Spotify streams puts Birds of a Feather by Billie Eilish on the summer must playlist. Festival favorite Hot to Go, you just heard it, by Chappell Roan, earned a top spot after Spotify's Hot Pink playlist grew nearly 145% when Roan graced the cover following Lollapalooza. With 28 consecutive days at #1 on Spotify's U.S. chart, Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us became a summer anthem. Sabrina Carpenter's catchy Espresso topped 25 regional charts in countries like Malaysia, Jordan, and Singapore. And Shabuzi's A Bar Song hit #1 on Spotify's charts in Australia, Canada, Ireland, Norway, and Sweden, as well as the U.S. this summer, as country music goes global. Spotify says this year's list considered streaming data, as well as the song's cultural impact and input from Spotify's music editorial team. And we still have much more to get to here on Prime. Comedians, lifelong friends, and representation advocates. Our conversation with the stars of the hit Hulu show, Rami, about the importance of having disabled people in the writer's room. And looking too good to be true? Why getting all dolled up for your passport photo could backfire.
Whenever, wherever news breaks, it's so important to always remember that lives are changed. Here in London, in Buffalo, Uvalde, Texas, Edinburgh, Scotland.
From Poland once again tonight. Thank you so much for streaming with us. Ukrainian refugees here in Warsaw.
Do you think you'll ever be able to go back home? We're heading to a small community outside of Mexico City. Splintered houses and splintered lives. The magnitude of the devastation. You're streaming ABC News Live. Reporting from Rolling Fork, Mississippi, Santa Fe, New Mexico, Raleigh, North Carolina, the U.S. Capitol, Mayfield, Kentucky, Minneapolis, Mexico, Tongass National Forest, Alaska. Getting you behind the stories as they happen, giving you a front row seat to our world as it plays out in real time, live. ABC News Live Prime. We'll take you there.
Stream ABC News Live weeknights, America's most honored streaming news program, only on ABC News Live. Streaming free right now wherever you stream your news.
First thing in the morning.
There's a lot going on.
We're still in a flash flood warning. To catch you up with what happened overnight. Police in riot gear arresting dozens of protesters.
What's happening today? Escalating tensions in the Middle East.
What people are talking about. The migrant crisis.
Fast, straightforward.
With some fun in between.
Check out the Gator on the 17th hole.
The buzzkill in baseball.
First thing in the morning.
America This Morning.
America's #1 early morning news.
On ABC News Live.
Whenever news breaks.
We are here in Israel, a nation at war.
In Rolling Fork, this tornado tore through this town.
From Lewiston, Maine.
The scene of a horrific mass shooting. From the scene of that deadly missile strike.
ABC News Live everywhere.
In Iceland, let's go.
On the 2024 campaign trail.
Here at 10 Downing Street.
Wherever the story is.
We're going to take you there.
You're streaming.
ABC News Live.
ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live. Streaming free everywhere.
Baywatch is a fantasy. When you hear that theme song, it was a wild time, and I was a wild chick.
Jason Momoa exploded.
Carmen was a bombshell.
Pamela Anderson was an icon.
I'm really proud of everything I've done. Almost.
Baywatch was a whirlwind of epic highs and bitter lows.
Everyone likes to watch sexy things.
Get ready, America, every Friday.
The hottest trends, styles, and must-have. What's the right stuff to buy right now? I really love that. It's time to buy the right stuff.
Yes!
And save big time, too.
The right stuff.
Fridays on GMA. You're gonna love it.
They both want to be your next president. Now, Donald Trump, Kamala Harris, face to face. The ABC News presidential debate, moderated by David Muir and Linsey Davis. Tuesday, September 10th, live on ABC and streaming on Hulu and Disney+.
The man whose case became famous from the podcast Serial is due back in court. Capri Sun addressing rumors that their iconic packaging is getting an overhaul. And is it possible to look too good in your passport picture? These stories and more in tonight's rundown.
Police in Riverside County, California have made an arrest in the case of a missing couple who lived at a nudist camp. Their dog also disappeared. Investigators believe Dan and Stephanie Menard are dead. They lived at a nudist camp in the town of Redlands. Now police arrested their neighbor, accusing him of murder. And it's believed the bodies are hidden in his home. Police won't talk about a possible motive. Using an armored truck, a SWAT team ripped apart neighbor Michael Sparks' home, looking for him. He was found hiding underneath the home. Back into court for the man most Americans first heard about in the podcast Serial. Maryland Supreme Court ruled that the 2022 hearing that freed Adnan Syed violated the rights of the victim's family and must be redone. Syed's conviction for the 1999 killing of his high school girlfriend, Heyman Lee, was overturned after flaws were found in the evidence. The 4-3 ruling means Syed's murder conviction remains reinstated for the foreseeable future. The justices did not order any changes to his release. Millions have followed the case, which was chronicled in the Serial podcast 10 years ago. Former New Jersey governor and presidential candidate Chris Christie is heading back to school. He'll teach a course this semester at Yale University on running political campaigns. The weekly seminar will cover communications, fundraising, and leadership goals. Christie is also a political contributor for ABC News. Golden State Warriors star Steph Curry is speaking out after agreeing to a lucrative one-year contract extension with the NBA team. The deal reportedly worth over $62 million. Curry told The Athletic, quote, "I always said I wanted to play for one team my whole career. So it's good to get the extension question out of the way and give complete focus to basketball into the season." As one of the highest earners of all time, the 37-year-old said he's in it to win it. Capri Sun fanatics were up in arms at the prospect of losing the iconic squeeze pouch design. But don't worry, the iconic aluminum pouch is here to stay. Yesterday, an image of Capri Sun in bottle form lit up the internet. Understandably, sparking fears for nostalgic millennials, we asked the company, and have learned from the company, quote, "Don't believe everything you read on the internet. We'd never disrespect the pouch, and they're here to stay." They added that those single-serve bottles really are coming in 2025, but will not replace the pouches. Beware of looking too good in your passport photo. Some makeup influencers and those who follow them say they regret looking so good on their passport photos because they get questioned about it all the time. Turns out their made-up selves don't quite match the face of someone who's just flown a red-eye. The State Department tells the Washington Post it's fine to use makeup in your passport photo, but try to look somewhat consistent with your regular makeup style.
In a new ABC News Ipsos poll out today, 17% of adults polled said they are not prepared to accept the outcome of November's presidential election. And twice that number, 34%, still don't believe President Biden legitimately won in 2020. Many members of groups like the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys also sought to deny the 2020 results, which ultimately led to the shocking events of January 6th. In his new book, Chaos Comes Calling, Sasha Abramsky, a correspondent for The Nation magazine, tells the parallel stories of two communities, Shasta County, California, and Sequim, Washington, where alliances of QAnoners, anti-vaxxers, Christian nationalists, and far-right militia supporters sought not just to deny elections, but to actually control the local governments. Sasha joins us now. Sasha, thank you so much for joining us here on ABC News Live. Many local officials during the pandemic had to first fend off COVID deniers and then election deniers. Did you see any of that in Shasta County, California, and Sequim, Washington? Is that why you focused on those cities?
Absolutely. What happened in Sequim was a mayor, William Armacost, got elected explicitly on a QAnon platform, and he began using official radio broadcasts and official city time to basically promote QAnon and to oppose public health officials, to oppose the idea of vaccines, to oppose the idea of mask mandates, and so on. The same thing happened in Shasta County, but in an even more extreme way. In Shasta County, which has long been a Republican stronghold. The moderate Republican chairman of the Board of Supervisors, a man called Leonard Moty, was driven out in a recall election basically by people who were siding with the most extreme anti-vaxxers, the most extreme people against public health mandates. And what happened in both of those places were very, very real on-the-ground consequences. Both of the public health officials in those two counties had lynch mobs outside their offices, people calling for them to be hung, young men in pickup trucks patrolling their neighborhoods, looking for them at night to attack them. These are public officials trying to keep communities safe, but with this sort of informal backing of this political alliance of extremists. You ended up seeing these public health officials basically fearful for their lives.
Yeah, it was certainly a dangerous time. Sequim, Washington, though, ultimately returned to a more rational form of governance, right? What went right there?
Yeah, what went right was a whole bunch of people, not just left-wingers, not just liberals, but a whole bunch of people on all sides of the political spectrum looked at the chaos and they said, look, this just isn't going to hold anymore. We elect local government, we elect mayors, we elect county boards of supervisors to get the job done, to keep road potholes filled, to make sure that kids have after-school programs, just basic things to keep community functioning. And so a cross-ideological alliance formed. It was called the Sequim Good Governance League. And they basically said, look, we've become a laughing stock. This is so dysfunctional, we've got to find a way around it. And they fielded candidates. They fielded candidates under the Good Governance League mandate. And they fielded them for the mayor, for the city council, for local school boards, and so on. And over 2 election cycles, the Sequim Good Governance League essentially recaptured the levers of local government.
You spoke with a lot of members of these groups, like the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys. You did a lot of research on this, of course, and also spoke with people who are part of those that subscribe to right-wing ideologies. So what does the public still not understand about what motivates them?
You know, I spent a lot of time, I spent nearly 2 years on this book, and one thing I didn't want to do was caricature people, because people have viewpoints. You've got to understand where those ideologies come from and where those worldviews come from. They've been told by Trump it's my way or the highway. They've been told by Trump if they lose an election, it's because the election has been stolen and because there's this sort of multifarious conspiracy against them. And that one of the problems we have, and it's not just an American problem, it's a global problem at the moment, is that the way we absorb news has been fractured. We used to have newspapers that we trusted, but nobody reads newspapers anymore. We used to have sort of big networks, TV networks that we trusted. Well, an increasing number of people instead turn to these very ideological cable channels, or they turn to social media for rumors. They get their news from Facebook or from X or from TikTok or from any of these other social media sites that don't really vet for accuracy. And I think that's a huge problem. And unless we find a way, A, to reestablish media literacy, and B, to hold social media companies accountable when they spread deliberate and oftentimes violent disinformation, well, it's going to be harder and harder and harder for democracy to function, because democracy relies on information.
Absolutely. So much to dive into, especially looking at the past 4 to 8 years. And you do that in your book, looking into right-wing media, specifically social media, and of course, what's stoking political divisions and conspiracies. Thank you so much for your time, Sasha. Really appreciate it. Sasha Abramsky's new book, Chaos Comes Calling: The Battle Against the Far-Right Takeover of Small-Town America, will be released this coming Tuesday. Let's shift now to a little sports. Millions of fans next week will be tuning in as the NFL kicks off its regular season. But on a smaller level, one future football star has been going viral this week for his workout videos with a very special coach, his mom. Our Danny New has the story.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you where you messed up at. Look.
They say mother knows best, and for 9-year-old Czar Glanton Jr., that includes when he's in the trenches.
Czar, when you're playing, man, like, what words from your mom are you kind of hearing in your head?
Sack that quarterback.
Czar's favorite position to play is defensive end, and when his mom, Tarika, gets home from her job as a social services director, they will square up in the yard of their Florida home and get to work.
I want sacks every day, all day. When he's in the game.
Of course.
Now, Tarika has loved football since she was a cheerleader in high school, but this all started when Czar first joined a team at 5 years old. He was so excited, but the problem was he just was not getting any play time.
He'd not yet touched the field, and I knew I had to do something. You was down, the first thing you did was stood straight up. No,
So Mom stepped in and started training Czar herself. Within a year, she says he became a full-time starter on both offense and defense. 4 years later, and as you can imagine, she is just as passionate.
Is it like, Czar, sack that quarterback?
Yep. Louder than that.
Not to mention, in the past few months, their workout videos have exploded online, gathering millions of views. Commenters writing, "You're a mother any child would be blessed to have," and "I see your mom with the shake and bake."
Go in the backfield, then sack them, kill them.
This week, they even made an appearance on SportsCenter, showing folks how strong their connection is, both on and off the field, but especially on.
It is exhausting, but it is so rewarding on Saturdays at 11 o'clock. It is the best feeling in the world. I'm so proud of you. I really am.
Leave it to moms to do whatever it takes. By the way, it also runs the family because Czar is actually cousins with NFL star Jalen Carter, former national champion at Georgia and current defensive lineman for the Philadelphia Eagles. Jalen and Tarika's great-grandmothers are sisters, so maybe it's a little bit of that and a lot of Tarika's fantastic coaching. Friendship can be funny, and lifelong friends and comedians Ramy Youssef and Steve Way are proof of that. You have likely seen the pair on the Hulu comedy Ramy or on Ramy's HBO stand-up special, Ramy Youssef, More Feelings. Take a look.
So, how'd you guys meet again?
Dude, it's the best app. Muslim Match.
You don't have to be Muslim to...
Nah, they'll let anybody on.
Anybody?
Yeah. I told Lena Muslim guilt has helped me a lot. You know about that.
Outside of comedy, the two are fierce advocates, pushing for authentic disabled representation through their work with the Inevitable Foundation. That's an organization investing in disabled writers and filmmakers to help destigmatize disability and mental health globally. Ramy and Steve join us now. Welcome to you both. Thank you so much for joining us on ABC News Live. You have both been so vocal about the lack of disabled representation in film and TV. Ramy, I want to start with you. How can the industry become a more inclusive place? Where do they need to start?
Well, I think a lot of it, and Steve is such a good example of this, is an awareness that these voices can actually speak. I think there's always this hesitation as to how a disabled person can come into a writer's room or can be on set. And I think there are just so many performers that I've met who make it really clear that they're not only incredibly capable, but a lot of times the best part of the show or what's happening. And I think Steve proved that when we were, first starting to make Ramy. He's always been so many people's favorite character.
Steve, let's talk about your character. What went into developing your character on Ramy, and how did you create space for these types of storylines?
Well, I'm so lucky that Ramy's my real life best friend. Ramy made sure that everything I did was authentic to me. He would send me a script, and basically he would just say to me, say this how you would do it. Do this how you would do it. And I think that's a real testament to how good the show is and how well our friendship reads on screen. It's us.
And Steve, you speak of that authenticity which just shines through the screen. Tell us a little bit more about the Inevitable Foundation, Steve, and your involvement with them.
Yeah, the Inevitable Foundation is a group that supports disabled screenwriters. They've helped me out so much, especially during the strikes last year. They offer grants to disabled writers. They've helped me get representation. It's something that's really hard for a performer like me.
And Steve, you've made such an impact showing disabled performers that they can do it and that they're being represented. Ramy, what inspired you to get involved with the foundation?
Well, I think it's the number of stories that you can tell, right? And I think what's so fun about working with Steve is right away he's just kind of like, listen, man, we don't need this to be sentimental. We don't need it to be sad. We need it to be weird, and we need it to be crazy. And I think when I first met with the crew over at Inevitable, you know, they right away are like, we need our voices in horror films and comedies, you know, and so many things that people, again, are not thinking about. Everyone kind of thinks of, like, you know, that sad documentary where the piano plays. And I love those. Like, when that piano hits, it gets me. But I think what's really fun with Steve and with a lot of the performers who I've met in, you know, in his circles and through Inevitable, people have a lot to talk about, you know, and they're doing everything we're doing. You know, they're all trying to find love, and they're all angry at something, and they're all, you know, taking things lightheartedly as well. And that to me is just what's really important.
You guys have been friends for such a long time. I love this friendship, this partnership, and the effort you're both making for the disabled community. Rami, how has your friendship impacted your work together?
I mean, he's just always been the honest voice. You know, Steve does not have time to kind of, you know, appease anyone. And I think the thing you want most when you're writing and doing comedy is honesty. And so it's why he's such a great comedic partner.
Absolutely. And Steve, last question to you. How can people get involved with the Inevitable Foundation? For those who are watching at home and they say, I want to help, how can they do that?
I think the biggest way that you support Inevitable Foundation is by supporting disabled performers. Whether it's actors, writers, directors, producers, you know, our stories are here, but we need them to be amplified.
And we are certainly listening now. Thank you so much, Steve Way, Rami Youssef. Thank you both for joining us. So proud of the work that you guys are doing for the Inevitable Foundation. Thank you so much for sharing. Make sure to watch their show, Rami, which is streaming on Hulu. And that is our show for tonight. I'm Stephanie Ramos. ABC News Live is here for you all night with the latest news, context, and analysis. You can always find us on Hulu, Roku, Pluto TV, and the ABC News app, and of course on abcnews.com. Have a good one.